The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Friday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com. As always, you know who it's brought to you by. You've been here. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day by featuring our favorite people, our coaches, our players from these awesome communities that we have across the YSN family. We're going to continue doing that today. We have a great interview that Ty Bartell conducted. I know we did Ramani Adams a little bit earlier. We're going to complete the Camel softball interview run with Melina Williams, her battery mate. So that's going to be a little bit later on in the show. You'll be able to hear from her and Ty, who has a great interview with her. We're also obviously going to talk about last night's action and then preview the weekend. So going to be a fun time. Without further ado, I'm just going to hop in the scoreboard. We're going to go right into it. Scoreboard on YSNLive.com, which is always presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. The YSN scoreboard is a great tool for our fans, whether you are at one of the games or watching one of the broadcasts. Either way, you don't want to look away from the screen or the action for too long, and the YSN scoreboard on the website is a good, easy way to get fast, live updated scores across the YSN family of your favorite teams. YSN Scoreboard is presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. We could not bring it to you without them, and it can be found at ysnlive.com/scores. So without further ado, let's go into last night's finals. On the baseball side, April 25th, 2024, we had an all-YSN matchup in Bessemer and Mohawk as the Mohawk Warriors beat Beaver Bobcats 10-1. The final score there. Our ace photographer, Gary Leininger, was at that game, so you can find pictures of both Mohawk and Beaver, both YSN schools, on a YSN Smug Mug. So if you're a fans of either one of those communities, make sure to go down there to our Smug Mug and check out the pictures available for purchase. We always thank Gary Leininger for giving us his time and awesome pictures that make our website look oh so good. We continue the finals as Pymatuning Valley was able to beat Wyndham 13-3. The final score there. Austintown Fitch shuts out Cardinal Mooney 4-0 in that game at Scene Park. Louisville was able to knock off Boardman by a final score of 9-4 last night. A big community win for Boardman. Is the story on that can be found on YSNLive.com. A very important victory for the Leopards. Niles is able to beat Cheney 11-4. Chris Rosar with a big game for the Dragons to lead them to victory. How about an 8-run first inning to do it for Niles? That will set the tone, and they never looked back from that point. Unfortunately for Crestview, their woes this week continue as they ran into a buzzsaw called Warren JFK. 13-0, the Eagles are able to beat the Rebels. Youngstown East and Liberty get into a high-scoring affair, and it's the Leopards to come out on top 11-10. So both of our Leopard baseball teams with a win last night. Badger and Fairport Harding just as close, 7-5 though. Fairport Harding gets the edge. In the MVAC Scarlet tier, as that race continues to boil over, the Middle Ridge Rams, thanks to a big pitching performance from Nick Anderson, the freshman that continues to impress, 2-0 they win over Lowville, and he gets another shutout to his utility belt. He already has a no-hitter this year, and now he has a shutout at Lowville, and they needed it because they only got 2 runs on the board themselves. Middle Ridge gets to win 2-0 over Lowville on the road, too. Really impressive. Lakeview is able to knock off Howland in the backyard rivalry in that Trumbull County. 7-3, the final score in that one. Columbiana gets knocked off by Hubbard, 3-2, the final score there. Lisbon able to do a lot of damage against Wellsville. Final score in this one, 14-3. The Blue Devils all over the Tigers in EOAC play. Jackson Milton got beat up by Heartland Christian, 13-9. The final score there. A lot of runs scored on both sides, but anytime you score 13, I think you should win in baseball. East Liverpool narrowly gets the edge over Oak Glen, 5-4. The final score in that one. South Range ends the Bulldogs' undefeated season by splitting the season series at home this time, 2-0. They get the Bulldogs. Struthers and Springfield got into a pitcher's duel, and it's the Wildcats to get the win, 1-0. The final score in that one. United able to dismantle East Palestine, 20-6. Carrollton gets the edge over Salem, 6-4. Newton Falls beats Bristol 5-2. And last but not least, Ashtabula St. John with a big day as they beat Chalker 12-1, the final score in that game. We'll go through the softball scores. We will circle back and talk about some of those matchups after all the scores are called out. Pymatuning Valley beats Wyndham on the softball field 10-0. West Geauga much more dominant this time around over Orange, 18-1. The final score in game 2. They get the sweep of the Lions. Fitch and Champion have an old style pitcher's duel, and Fitch gets the win 1-0. That's all they needed was 1 run, and it came off a Cindy Watts home run. We'll talk about that game in a little bit as well. Beaver Local able to beat Struthers 14-4. The final score in that one. Crestview able to knock around Brookfield 19-2. The final score in that MVAC Scarlet tier action. I should say gray tier action, excuse me. EOAC, Columbiana gets another doubleheader win as they beat East Palestine in game 1, 20-2, and then win 15-1 in game 2 of that doubleheader. Badger all over Fairport Harding on the softball side of things, 17-3, the final score. A surprising score because no one expected Lakeview to run rule in this one. We thought it'd be close either way. And Lakeview said not so fast. 17-7. They are all over Howland. They knock off the Tigers in run rule fashion. 6 innings played. Jefferson also run rules Conneaut 20-4. The final score in that one. Sebring gets the win over Latonia 17-7. Hubbard beats Rootstown. That's a big win for the Eagles. Rootstown, a very quality Division III team, 7-1. The final score there. The Eagles with a big win. Poland mashes up Boardman 20-6. The final score. They break out after being held to 1 run the night before. Middle Ridge beats Springfield 15-4, and another MVAC win for the Rams in the 11th win of the season. Western Reserve, 1 step closer to an MVAC championship, 13-3. They get the win over Waterloo. If they win both games against Middle Ridge, then they earn at least a split of the championship with McDonald, as those two have only beaten each other, and that's it so far in the conference. McDonald had to escape in extras against Middle Ridge last week, so you never count out the Rams to throw a monkey wrench into that whole situation. It's going to be a big series next week between the Blue Devils and the Rams. United gets to win over Wellsville 20-1. We have some more things to say about that game in a little bit as well. Edgewood beats Perry 9-1. The final score there. Archbishop Hoban, they fall to Akron Manchester 9-2. We already talked about the Columbiana East Palestine game. They won in a doubleheader sweep for the Clippers. 8-7. Garrettsville Garfield gets the edge over Liberty in a tight one there. Liberty trying to get back in momentum. They started the season 5-2, and now they are 5-7. So they're trying to get back to the winning ways that they started the season in. But Garfield stood in their way last night. Bristol gets the barely edge over Newton Falls on the softball side, 13-12. The final score there. Ursuline beats LeBray 9-8 in a wild one, and then Louisville able to knock off Glen Oak 6-3. The final in that one. So now that we have our finals, I'm going to go back up to baseball. We're going to talk about some of these games first, and then we'll go down and talk about the softball games. Obviously, there were a couple of big matchups on both sides. Let's start with Fitch and Mooney. Obviously, I think a lot of people were looking forward to this game. Both pitching staffs have played well, and it was a matchup between two teams that have a pretty young roster going in it. And Fitch was able to get the win in shutout fashion. When you look at the way they were able to do it, scoring-wise, Fitch scored 1 in the first, 2 in the fourth, and then 1 in the seventh. So it was kind of spread out. I mean, not really as spread out as you can be with 4 runs and 7 in it. Excuse me there. As spread out as you can be in 4 runs and 7 innings, I guess you could say. I mean, 1 in the first, and then 2 right in the middle of the game in the fourth, and then 1 to close it out in the seventh. But Frank Sinadak, another big game. He has another RBI. He seems to always pop up when you're talking about Fitch's offense. He makes the most out of a 1-for-4 day. Multiple hits from Mason Petridis. He's also a big name in the Fitch baseball program, of course. 2-for-4 with a run scored. Jackson Cheeks has the second straight game with an RBI as he goes 1-for-3 with that run batted in. Only 2 RBIs out of the 4 runs scored for Austintown. Fitch. Mooney added 3 errors to help them out a little bit. So out of the 4 runs, actually, only 1 of them was earned against Mooney. The defense a little bit shaky for the Cardinals in this particular game. And then the pitching for Austintown Fitch was absolutely there. Cole Gamey, you'll look at his final stat line. 7 innings pitched, only 2 hits given up. Obviously, no runs. He walked 2. He struck out 8. So, struck out 5. So, a big night for him on the mound. And when you shut out a team, that's literally the best you can do, right? I mean, the only other thing that could have gone better for him is a no-hitter or a perfect game. Everything else is exactly what you want out of a pitcher. And he went all 7 innings, and he was actually pretty dang efficient with his pitches. When you look at his pitch count, he used 76 pitches in 7 innings. That's remarkable in baseball, especially when you're worried about pitch count. It saves you a day off, I believe. I'm trying to remember the numbers. I believe that will save him a day when you talk about rest time, keeping it under 80. But 76 in 7, that's averaging just under 11 a game, 11 an inning, 10.8 if you want to be exact, pitches per inning. That's just the trademark of efficiency. And 47 of those 76 47 of those 76 pitches were strikes. So he was definitely keeping in the strike zone. He faced obviously 24 batters. He did hit 2. So he had 2 hit batters, 2 walks on his day. For the Mooney offense, they only had 2 hits, and definitely a struggle spot. They're not usually kept down like that. Their lineup is usually pretty dang good. So Austintown Fitch, a big win and a big pitching performance from Mr. Gamey. I want to talk more about this Middle Ridge game as well. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Anderson over there. Mr. Anderson. Every time I hear that, I think of the Matrix. So my mind immediately goes to Agent Smith, talking to Mr. Anderson. I'm quirky. What can I say? But the final line for Anderson went like this: 7 innings pitched, a lot like actually Gamey from Fitch. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits given up. He did walk 2, just like Gamey did. He struck out 2 more though, 7 strikeouts in this game, and he was able to use 95 pitches though, so a little bit higher of a pitch count. But that's okay. You kept your team in it, and you definitely shut down the other team. Middle Ridge did commit 3 errors on the day, so a couple of stressful innings for Mr. Anderson over there, but nothing too bad, as he also hit 2 batters. So four free bases there, but no runs given up and just 2 hits. Now, Lowville pitched pretty well too. I want to give them a shout out because Liam Bartlett pitched a really good game for the Rockets. 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 11 and walked 3. I think a lot of coaches would love that strikeout to walk ratio where it's at. So sometimes you're just a tough luck loser when you pitch really well, and that's just baseball. You have to deal with that. You have to be able to take that in and know that you pitched a good performance. And when it's a pitcher's duel like this, we're going to talk about it in a couple of other games. When it's a pitcher's duel, man, that margin for error gets so tiny, and every pitch matters that much more. And if you just made just a couple more bad pitches than the other person, what can you do, right? He got outpitched, not by much, because obviously Bartlett pitched a really good game, but got outpitched by a really talented freshman right now that, in my mind, looking in the conversation, I think for freshman of the year. You throw a no-hitter, a couple of more shutouts. He's pitching really well right now. I don't know if there's a better freshman arm that I don't know what class everybody is, so I'm not speaking entirely with everyone in front of me, but in my top of my mind right now, when I think freshman arms on the mound, Anderson from Middle Ridge really putting together a strong season. Also want to give a shout out to this Hubbard game as well, because Hubbard and Columbiana was a sneaky good matchup that I think a lot of people left under the radar there. And it was a pitcher's duel like you'd expect from these two too. 3-2 the final score there as we hop into Game Changer. Boy, do I love Game Changer, by the way. If you do not fork over the money for the premium Game Changer, I don't know. I mean, this is such a great tool for baseball and softball fans out there in the area. You're able to get all the information you want right at your fingertips. But Hubbard gets the 3-2 win, and it was tied up in after regulation, so they're in extras, right? And then they get the walk-off win, 3-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Though hero for Hubbard was a triple by Gabe Leshnak, who has been really good all year for Hubbard, and that name is big in Hubbard athletics, of course. So he gets the triple. Gino, I'm sorry, I mixed up Gino and Gabe Rusnak. They both have similar last names, but Gino Leshnak with the triple to walk off the game for Hubbard. I apologize for botching the name the first time around, but I corrected myself. You look at the offense for Hubbard. Andrew Calley with a big game, 3 for 3, 2 runs scored. He was perfect at the plate. He also walked once, so then they never retired him. The RBIs all came from Leshnak. That 3 RBIs on the day, including the walk-off triple. He was 3 for 4, 5 total bases. Just a remarkable day at the plate for him. And then Mr. Bobovnik, Matthew, he pitched really well on the mound for Hubbard. He went 4 innings, picked up the win, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs. They were both earned. He struck out 6. As a staff, him and Braden Songer struck out 14 combined Columbiana hitters. Songer went 4 innings, gave up 1 hit, no runs, walked 2, struck out 8. So because Bobovnik pitched the final 4 innings, he gets the win to his credit. But both pitchers really shined bright, keeping this really high-powered Colombian offense down. Ian Les was the only Colombiana hitter with multiple hits. He went 2 for 4 with a run scored. 1 RBI on the day for Colombiana, and it came from Devin Doherty, who walked twice, did not get a hit, but did walk twice and pick up an RBI. Pitching for Colombiana, Alex Eusebio, who is up for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley right now. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, just the 2 runs. They were both earned. He walked 1, struck out 9. So that's a fair day. That's a fair day on the mound. That's going to win you a lot of games. Unfortunately for him, it just wasn't enough offense on Colombiana's side to back up that pitching performance. And then obviously with the walk-off 7th, Hubbard walk-off in the 8th, Hubbard was able to get the win. So a very, very good game from both those teams. I think that was one of the games that a lot of people weren't really looking at, or at least enough people were looking at that game for how good it was going to be, and it lived up to the hype. I think a lot of people were looking at South Range Poland Game 2. Fitch Mooney was one that a lot of people were talking about. I think people wanted to see the backyard rivalry between Howland and Lakeview, but not a lot of people were talking about Columbiana and Hubbard, and they really put on a show. A very clean baseball game that Hubbard's able to escape with the win. Now we talk about softball, the headline game, the one that everyone wanted, the one that I think everyone was at. I mean, it was a packed field, Fitch and Champion, 2 state-ranked teams, 2 teams with aspirations of getting to the state tournament. Of course, chances of getting to the state tournament. I think both teams are talented enough to get there. Plenty of teams that stand in their way, so I'm not going to lock them in there, but definitely teams that you could say talented enough to get into the state tournament. And Fitch won this game 1-0. And the difference was a Sidney Watts home run. That's the only run scored. A solo shot by Sidney Watts did it. And when you look at these numbers for both pitchers, Sidney Watts had the definite edge in strikeouts. She had 14 strikeouts on the night compared to Gabby Gradishar's 5. So Fitch was definitely putting the ball in play more. That lineup does not strike out a lot at all. So the fact that they put the ball in play more does not surprise me. But Champion's defense was up for the task. They really got it going, and they kept the Falcons down to just that 1 run. Like I said, 5 hits on the day for Fitch, 1 run. When you look at Champion's lineup, they had 2 hits. Gabby Gradishar got a hit late in the game, 1 for 3, and Grace Hadley got 1 for he was 1 for 3. Everyone else just an offer, and no one walked either. I think that was a big key in Sidney Watts' day. The last 2 games against Boardman, although they won by 10 in both, the walks were a little bit elevated on her standards. So she was able, I think, 5 walks in those 2 games combined, and she only struck out 6 Boardman hitters in that game against Boardman on Tuesday. So I think you saw a lockdown, focused Sidney Watts that said, I'm going to get back to the basics and get my strikeout pitches back. And her command was absolutely exactly what you want from the moment. Didn't walk a single hitter. Did it in 91 pitches. 67 of them were strikes. I mean, it's exactly what you want. Struck out 14 of the 21 batters faced. No errors from the Austintown Fitch defense. It was just a completely clean, performance. Can't say perfect because she gave up 2 hits, but a completely clean performance. And then when you look at Champion, that was there too. I mean, Gradishar, 7 innings pitched, gave up the 5 hits, just a 1 run, walked 1, struck out 5. It was more of a gritty performance. Maybe not the one that she's used to, but it did the job. And when you watch that at bat, it was Sidney Watts' second at bat of the game. And she struck out the first time, and then Gradishar had her down 2 strikes. And when you look at the pitch that was thrown, I can't say for sure because I'm not in the catcher or the hitter or the pitcher's mind, so I can't say that she was going to throw this. But it looked like from watching Ty's broadcast, by the way, Ty Bartell, great call on that game. Shout out to you, my friend. You had one of the top games in the state the whole season, and you did a really good job. in that call. But watching that broadcast, that home run ball, from my view, it looked like a rise ball that just didn't go up. It looked like trying to have a 2-strike rise ball, a swing and a miss. It didn't break as much as she wanted it to, and Sydney Watts was all over it. What can you do? Gradishar's pitches are going to naturally be a little bit more inside because she's a screwball pitcher. So an inside half rise ball that didn't really break as high as she wanted to. And that's the one mistake. And the one mistake was the one that hurt the most. Talked about it in the baseball game with Cardinal Mooney and Fitch, and talked about it with what was the game I was talking about? Middle Ridge and Lowville when they were in the pitcher's duel. When you're in a game like that, as unfair and as kind of hard it is to take, every single pitch matters, and you miss that one pitch, that one mistake that Fitch takes advantage of, and that's the difference. I think this Fitch lineup, one of the things they are so good at is hunting mistakes, and I've seen them play a lot of really good hitters in the last 2 seasons, and every time they play them, even if they're being held down, even if it's not the typical Fitch offense, it seems like every time that pitcher makes a mistake, especially an elevated mistake, Fitch is all over it with either a hard hit ball, home run, extra base hit. They don't let mistakes go. Very rarely do I see a pitch that's taken that's right there that they could have hit that freezes them, or a swing and a miss on a pitch that was right there for strike 3. Very rarely do they miss mistakes, and that puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher to hit their spots every pitch. Gradishar almost did it. There's that one mistake pitch in the wrong time. That can be the difference. This matchup was everything you wanted it to be, though. 2 Power 5 pitchers, both in their junior season, so we get one more year of both. They both shine bright. I mean, could you ask for anything better from a softball fan's perspective? I don't think you could. It was incredible to watch, and I wish I was there. I was calling my own game, but man, I was keeping an eye on this one on Game Changer, and it lived up to the hype. I think last year was a little bit more high scoring than you expected this matchup to be. This year, it was both pitchers locked down, saying this is going to be a pitcher's duel, and Sydney Watts in a big moment came up and shined the brightest, like she always does in big moments with the home run ball. The other offensive performances from Fitch, by the way, Kayleana Ray was still really good, 2 for 3 on the day. Could not get her home when she got on base, but she was able to also walk one, so she got on base 3 times. Ayla Ray was 1 for 4. Sydney Watts obviously got the home run. She was 1 for 3 with the home run, the 1 run scored. Morgan Roby was 1 for 3, and that's it. Those are the hits that Gabby Gradishar gave up. 2 to Ray. The 3 combined to the Ray sisters, 1 to Watts and 1 to Roby, and that was it. Only 1 walk on the day, and it was also to Kayleana Ray. So no shocker there that Kayleana, who's hitting above 700 right now, had the best offensive performance of the day against Gabby Gradishar. I think that's one of the players that she's not committed yet because she's a freshman and she's not allowed to commit yet, but it's a de facto Division I player. I think that's kind of if everything goes the way that her career wants to go, she'll probably have her pick of schools that she wants to go to. You can just tell when she's playing. You can just see it. If you watch enough softball, you start to just tell that some players are just different. And Kayleana Ray is just like her sister, where you were able to tell a freshman year that Ayla Ray is different. She's going to be a special talent, and I think Kayleana Ray is the same way. You watch her and you just go, there's something different. There's something there. There's something that's Division I caliber, just different. And I wouldn't be shocked if she goes D1. Maybe she'll follow in her sister's footsteps. Who knows? Maybe she'll go to YSU. Maybe she won't. We see a lot of sister duos do the opposite, where you think they're both going to go to the same school, but they don't. They differ. I think the biggest one in the softball world that happened was obviously the Romero sisters. Sierra Romero was living life on the top of the world in Michigan, and everyone thought kind of her sister Sydney was going to follow her and into Michigan. But when Patty Gasso called from Oklahoma, you answer, right? When the Sooners call, you answer. So those two went to different schools, and sometimes that'll work out that way. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes the two sisters get to play with each other. We'll see where Kayleana's career kind of takes her in the next couple of years. But I'm very excited to see how it continues, because the freshman year is astronomical right now for Kayleana Ray. Lakeview, a lot of offense to break down in this game. 17-7. This is not the score I expected in this game. Sometimes good pitchers have bad days, and both offenses were able to kind of tee off a lot more than you expect with the pitching staffs that both teams have. This is a big win for Lakeview. They had a tough weekend at the Joanne Kernan Classic, of course. They were on they lost to all 3 games down there to Canfield, Columbiana, and North. Came back with a 3-game winning streak. Well, a 2-game winning streak going into last night, but a 3-game winning streak now. But this win was just emphatic, 17-7. You look at the offensive performance; all of these runs were earned for Lakeview. You look at the stats. They scored 17 runs, and Izzy Haynes had a monster day. She went 2 for 4 with a home run, 5 RBI, 1 run scored. You had 3 RBIs from Calissa Warner, who went 2 for 3 with 3 RBI, 2 runs scored. You had 3 RBIs from Eisenberg, who went 3 for 4 with 3 RBI. And then McKenna Warner went 1 for 4 with an RBI as well. This offense was everywhere. Even Ava Bacon got in the mix, 2 for 3 with an RBI. It was just the lineup was ready to go. They had a game plan. They executed it really, really well. Eisenberg pitched, didn't do terrible. 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, only 4 earned runs, and 6 strikeouts. Against this lineup, I think you'd take that any day of the week. They scored 7 runs total, but only 4 of them were earned. I think you would take that pitching performance any day of the week from Isabella Eisenberg against this high-powered Highland offense, who did have a good day. I mean, Madison Schmitz had a 3 RBI day. She went 2 for 3, with a walk and 2 runs scored. You had 2 RBIs from Maya Kabanchik, who went 1 for 3 with a walk. But the big thing was Eisenberg kept Alyssa Masucci in check. He was 1 for 4. Tater was held in check. He was 1 for 4. So those are 2 of the big bats in the Tigers lineup. Sydney Vaness, also a big bat, was held hitless. So Eisenberg did really good against the hitters from Howland that you really don't want to let beat you. Now, the other hitters stepped up big for the Tigers and did a good job, but I think Eisenberg pitched well against the really big power of the Tigers bats. So that was a good win for Lakeview. And now Howland, they got to bounce back quickly, because they have 2 tough games tomorrow against Poland and Sharpsville, and then on Monday they go right into Austintown Fitch for the last AAC series of the year for the Falcons. So Fitch is going to be geared up. If they win both, they earn at least a split of the AAC. Tigers are going to have to really be locked in if they want to spoil that and throw a monkey wrench. They almost did it to Canfield. So it's there. They can play against Austintown Fitch and at that level. But they got to be really locked in to what they're doing and kind of throw this game into the trash. I was at Boardman, Poland, and this game was Mary Brandt's day. I mean, there's no other way to put it. When you go 5 for 5, 2 home runs, 10 RBI, I mean, there was no stopping her, none at all. It was a day where a tough day for Boardman, where Tori Strine started, got in some sticky situations. They brought in Gabby Safara. Safara got hit by a ball right back to her, so she had to leave the game. And they were just trying to find something that worked, and and Poland was a little bit fired up from the game before. They wanted to get their offense going in a hurry. Scored 10 runs in the first inning and never, ever looked back. Mary Brandt, once again, 5 for 5, 2 home runs. One of them was a grand slam. The other one, a 3-run home run. 10 RBIs on the day. Just one of the best offensive performances and results I've seen in a long time. You don't normally see 10 RBIs in one day. Remember, I think yesterday, everything washes away. Can't remember who had 8 RBIs, but I was like, I think that's the largest total in the Ysn family so far, 8 RBIs in one day. Well, Mary Brandt just, said, hold my Gatorade real quick. 10 RBIs, that's this. It's ridiculous. And then I do want to shout out Sam Lippiett, who broke some more records for United in their 20-1 win. She now has the season record for runs scored. Already had the career records. Now has the season record as well. She's sitting at 40 runs scored right now for United. She also tied the record for triples in a season. She has 7. So Sam Lippiett having a great year like we all expected her to, and breaking more and more records every day. United has a big matchup with Columbiana on Monday and Tuesday. That's going to be a series that a lot of eyes are going to be squarely locked in on. Got a score from the LeBray boys who beat Brookfield baseball last night. Let's get that one up on Game Changer. Nine to 1, the final score in that game. We apologize if we missed it. Austin Rowe pitched really well for LeBray. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, no earned runs, struck out a pair. And then obviously the offense with 9 runs had a monster day at the plate. Rowe, along with that good pitching, had a pair of RBIs. So LeBray does get that win over Brookfield, 9-1. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have more Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
From on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. You just heard from them on that commercial break what going the extra mile means to them. What it means for us trying to follow their lead is sharing player profiles and great stories with the coaches and the players of our wonderful communities here on this show. We do it every day. We will continue that trend here with the second of 2 Camel interviews that we have so far from the softball field, Ty Bartell caught up with Melina Williams, their catcher extraordinaire from the Red Devils team, and it's a great conversation. I hope you enjoy it.
What's up, everybody? Another edition of Player Profile. Ty Bartell in with one of the Camel Memorial softball players, their catcher, Mylena Williams, joining me today. Mylena, how are we doing?
We have a pretty good start. We just played Crestview, and we've tied, but we never got to finish our game. We've beat East and Niles. I think we've lost once or twice, but we had a strong start. A little rough, in some areas, but we're going to be good this year.
How do you guys stay focused, stay prepared when, Mother Nature just has been brutal this year as far as game cancellation, shifting, and delays? How do you stay prepared and stay ready?
So if we don't have games, then we'll have our practices to get us ready for the next day for our games. And then we'll just work on everything we need to work on in order to be prepared for our next game.
What are some things you look to work on going into this season? Your batting average has always been one of the tops no matter where you've been. But what are some of the things you look to improve on in yourself going into this season?
More of my batting. I want to improve more on catching, like my catching skills, and more of my throwdowns, because I could always improve on my throwdowns and my quickness of my speed.
I'm always impressed with the confidence that you've gotten in your voice and just behind yourself over the years too. I remember talking with you freshman year too against Nikki Pizzone too, and just where you've been from then to now too. Talk to me about finding your confidence, just finding your voice and finding your confidence both on and off the field.
I think off the field, I've just started to talk to more people so I could get comfortable, and then on the field with talking more of my players and helping them helped me a lot, of communicating better, which made my voice more loco. And especially when on the field, having to call plays helps a lot.
You're dealing with Romani Adams too. It was a younger pitcher too, but she's starting to come into her own, having a fantastic season herself too, start of the year. Talk about working. You went from a senior catcher too when you were a freshman too with Pizzone, and then you go into freshman. Talk to me about the mentality switch for that, where you're kind of the older one now. You're the one that's kind of the older member of the battery. What was that like too with helping Romani to develop?
It's a little bit of a difference. Nicolina, her speed was a lot. Romani, she has really good speed too, and we have a good chemistry, so it's easier for us to communicate with our pitches, and her more comfortable with throwing pitches and pitching towards me.
I love the mentality of you girls over at Camel, because your group in particular also very heavily involved in volleyball, and you guys did a lot in turning that program around, making it a standard over there. Talk to me about just, is there a sense of, I guess, pride being a Camel Memorial Red Devil now that you carry, because you guys are turning these programs around, making it a force to be reckoned with, making people recognize that girls sports at Camel Memorial are something that need to be recognized too?
I think our girls, for our sports, volleyball and softball, our team is just we just have good chemistry, which makes it easier for us to cheer together and get along together, which helps our team a lot more. So we're just really comfortable around each other.
I want to talk about the first chapter you had in your softball career. What's some of the earliest memories you have in the sport?
Well, this year I had an injury in volleyball, so I couldn't catch for the beginning of the season, and I had to play short. And I just started catching back when we played Crestview. And I was scared at first because I didn't want to hurt my ankle again. But once the game started, I've got more comfortable with playing, and the game went really well.
When did you start the sport of softball? Do you remember the age when you started getting involved?
Maybe I was maybe 7 or 10.
Okay, so you're somewhere in that range too. What was it about the sport that made you stick with it too into high school that made you really love it?
Well, first I started off in Mill Creek, and our team was really close. It was we've grown up from there and more. And I just like the fun of it, the cheering, and being on the field with my friends and just having fun.
What is it about that softball with your friends, the bonds too that are unique to the sport too? Because I feel like softball, like you said, there's a lot of cheering, there's a lot more time to be, I guess, a little bit more personable. What's the bonds like with softball, being in that softball world?
Well, the bonds are really good, and us, even all outside of softball, we still like hang out and talk, which makes it way a lot better and easier to be more comfortable with on the field and to cheer together and just have all the high energy on the field and cheering.
You go from underclassmen to upperclassmen now, so you're going to be looked at a little bit more as a leader. You already are with a position that you are defensively, but talk to me about finding yourself as a leader. What are some of the leadership styles you've kind of taken on or that appeal to you?
I know that a lot of the players on my team look up to me, so I just need to be a better teammate and show them like what to do and what not to do, and then to just always do my best and give 100%. So then they would always look up to me and do the same as well.
You're one of the spearheads of leading a new standard, I think, over at Camel Memorial for Girls Sports. What is that standard that you yourself are trying to set day in and day out?
I just want to set a goal to where I'm like up there and doing my best that I could for every sport that I can, and then just being good. And I would say to just try my hardest and help my team a lot.
What's some advice you give to maybe a younger player in softball too that maybe looks at the success you're having and says they want to be like you one day?
To just put in the time and to always have fun. And if you really want to do softball more ahead, then do practice, like work on hitting or anything when you have free time, and to pay more attention while having practice.
What has been the biggest difference maker for you to find the success at the plate that you've found throughout high school?
Well, at first my batting was, I had problems with rolling in the back. So I've been to hitting lessons over the years, which has helped a lot and helped me get my home runs that I've had last year. And I had one this year against Crestview. So it's a big difference and it helps a lot.
What was it like getting that first high school home run? Do you have that in the memory bank still? Is it stowed away, or is there another home run that maybe has taken over?
Well, I think the home run against Crestview, because I was really shocked about it. Like, yeah. I had no clue it was going to go over, nothing. I just went up to the plate just thinking I got a hit, got a score. And I had 2 strikes, and then I just hit the ball, and it just went over.
It felt too easy. Easy when you made contact. Talk about this journey with softball too. Some of the big supporters that have been there with you to show them some love that have been there along the way.
My family has been there since I first started volleyball and softball. So I appreciate to them for always being there and helping me get through the camps and practices and everything I need and all my things I have for softball. And then my coaches for helping me. And yeah.
You're involved in a lot of things too, and talk about time management skills. And how have you been able to develop those? How do you find time for yourself in managing all the camps, the schoolwork, the games, the practices?
It's a lot. So I go to school, and then right after school we have practices or a game, and we usually don't get home till late. So if I have a test, I have to study. And then camps usually start in like September or something. So then we would schedule those earlier, so I know like what things I have the days of to make more time. And well, I had travel volleyball, but those were usually on the weekends, and I would have them during softball season. But to manage my time, I would go to softballs because it was a sports, like a high school in-season sport, and I would go to those and then try to make volleyball practices as much as I could.
So when you do finally get some time for yourself, what are some of your other hobbies that don't involve sports or schoolwork?
Usually I'll probably get food or go out to Boardman to shop or look, or I'll just sleep.
The sleep's always a good one. What's the go-to? Do you have like a go-to shopping center, or do you have a go-to food place that you like to go to?
I usually like to go out shopping at like Target or Walmart or the mall. And then food-wise, I'd probably say Chipotle or Cane's.
Chipotle, I can definitely vibe with. Cane's definitely too, and Target, yeah, I get it, I get it. Let's keep on the food trend. What's the favorite dugout snack for you?
Dill pickle seeds.
All right, dill pickle. That's always a popular flavor as well too. Is there a certain brand? Is it David's?
Don't really have a certain brand.
It's just got to be dill pickle. All right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about softball?
Having fun and getting to be with my friends.
Favorite post-game meal?
Usually, I love fruit. So, and I feel like fruit gives me more of the energy for playing.
Most fond softball memory? What's the memory that you're the most fond of?
I would say probably last year when we played against Liberty. We played them away, and it was like a really good game and close game, and we just had like really high energy, which made it a lot more fun.
I like this question that Anthony Hartwig's been asking, so I'm going to ask it to you as well. The trend on TikTok and on social media right now, you line up the softball teams, the non-pitchers too, and they all imitate being a pitcher. Who do you think sells it the best on your team, other than obviously take Romani out of it? Who sells being a pitcher the best?
I think either Abby, she's our other catcher. She has a little experience, like she'll do it just for fun, and it's actually kind of good. And I think maybe I could get up there if I.
You got it. I was waiting for someone to give the confidence and say, "Yeah, I'm up there. I'm on that too." Let's talk about just some of your goals too for the future, and what are some of the things you're looking to accomplish in high school and beyond for yourself?
High school, I'm just looking forward to just doing better every year, so then I could get the college looks to actually go out and play college ball.
Well, I think those doors will be open for you. I think you definitely have the talent to play at the collegiate level. When you talk about looking at the collegiate level, what are the things you're looking at in maybe a coach, in the environment, in a team? What are some things that are appealing to you for a collegiate team?
I'm just looking to have a fun team, a team that wants it bad enough as I do. And I'm more looking for colleges like around the area or somewhere not so far, because I would like to stay close.
No, I get that completely too. Being a family person myself, I completely understand. Mylena, I can't tell you how much we're rooting for you here at YSN. We love seeing your continued success each and every season and what you've been able to bring to the table for not only your teams, but also your entire community. I've been astounded, and I've been so proud, I guess is the word to say, and seeing your growth too and the confidence you have in yourself and in your voice as well. Looking forward to talking to you again real soon, Mylena, but we're rooting for you up until then.
Thank you.
This has been another edition of Player Profile with the Camel Memorial Red Devils catcher, Mylena Williams.
That was Mylena Williams from Camel Memorial. Ty Bartell doing a great job with that interview. We certainly thank her for her time, giving us the time to do that player profile. If you missed it and want to see it in its entirety, it can be found at ysnlive.com. It can also be found on our YouTube page. And if you're over there, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like some of the videos, comment, all that fun stuff. That helps us get into YouTube's algorithm, which favors those with subscribers and with likes. So make sure to get over there if you missed any of that Mylena Williams interview, if you want to see it in its entirety. All of our interviews, all of our post-game interviews, all of our coaches' corners, they all go up on our YouTube page, so make sure to check that out. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank everyone for tuning in today. We want to thank everyone for just the constant support. We want to thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their sponsorship every day. And we'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. A lot of good baseball and softball. Check out the schedule, ysnlive.com/live. And also check out the scoreboard for scores around the area, ysnlive.com/scores. Have a great weekend again. We'll see you back here on